தமிழரின் பாரம்பரிய திருவிழாவை கொண்டாடுவோம் புத்தாடை பொங்கலோடு. The Chennai Silks. Let the celebrations begin.
Welcome you all to Day 2 of Umagine Tamil Nadu 2025, where we inform, inspire and innovate. Accelerating Tamil Nadu's tech progression is not just a theme. It's a reinforcement for tech organizations to pay attention to Tamil Nadu's thriving ecosystem. At Umagine Tamil Nadu, we are committed to propelling growth through the adoption of compelling strategies for startup, harnessing the power of emerging technologies for productivity, fostering innovation for e-governance and leveraging geomatics for sustainability. Umagine Tamil Nadu stands as an evolving platform propelling Tamil Nadu towards its trillion-dollar dream. Thank you for joining us in shaping the future of technology, entrepreneurship and talent mobility, contributing to the global wave of innovation. Today, we begin with a panel discussion on cities, suburbs and satellite towns as engines of growth. How technology is enabling and accelerating the economies. First, I would like to call upon our first panelist for today, Mr. Oneindia, Executive Director at Daily Hunt, CEO, Oneindia. Can we all give a huge round of applause as we welcome him on the stage, please. An astute thought leader with 23 years of experience in managing teams across content, sales and business development, product development, and operation management across leading telecom operations in India, experience in having excelled in startup conditions and successfully scaling businesses from scratch, now heading content across the portfolio for India's largest vernacular platform and building the go-to content destination for Bharat. We welcome you, sir. Next, I would like to call upon Mr. Naveen Chandra, Founder and CEO, 91 Film Studios. Please give a huge round of applause as we welcome him on the stage. He has over 30 years of leadership experience across films, TV, radio, print and digital media in India and internationally. His studio focuses on producing, marketing and distributing regional language feature films. Previously, he launched the Storyteller Funds, a SEBI registered AIF providing structured capital to the regional film industry. Naveen has produced and distributed films in various Indian languages and helped build renowned brands like Times of India, Radio Mirchi and Ghana.com. We welcome you, sir. Next, I would like to call upon a moderator and speaker for today, Mr. Ish Sundaram, Founder, CEO, Utpata Ventures. Can we all put our hands together and welcome him on the stage, please. Ish is the founder and CEO of Utpata Ventures, an early-stage venture fund and operating executive at Taival Capital, a market private equity firm focused on industrial and technology portfolios. He served as the Executive Vice President and Chief Digital and Technology Officer of JetBlue Airways Corporation from 2012 until his retirement in February 2021. He was a founder of JetBlue Technology Ventures and served as a director on multiple public and private companies, including SolarWinds, Intelsat, and Vesco International. We welcome you, sir. Next, I would like to welcome Ms. Gayatri Tyagarajan, CEO of Kinhood Technologies. Gayatri Tyagarajan, CEO of Kinhood Technologies and founder of KYN, a neighborhood discovery and connectivity platform, has over 2 decades of versatile experience in financial services and technology firms in London, New York, Zurich, Singapore, and India. She has held senior positions in various verticals like business strategy and leadership, data, technology, operations, and finance. As a senior management professional, she's effectively partnered with C-suite leaders to define the vision and manage the execution of business strategy leading to targeted, profitable outcomes. We welcome you, ma'am. Last but not the least, I would like to call upon Dr. Viveka Kalidasan. Can we all give a huge round of applause as we welcome her on the stage, please? Dr. Viveka Kalidasan is a visionary technopreneur recognized as one of MIT's 35 innovators under 35 and Singapore's top 100 women in technology. She is the founder and CEO of River Venture Studio, the world's first inclusive Industry 5.0 accelerator focused on sustainability and human-centric innovation. River Venture Studio helps Global Startup Cafe, offering pilot opportunities and fostering diversity in leadership. We welcome you, ma'am. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Vanakkam Chennai. Eppadi irukeenga ellarum? Did you all have fun yesterday? Who came here yesterday? Wow, that's amazing. Thanks for coming. Second day will be even better. I'm hoping for a lunch. I didn't have lunch yesterday. It was too busy, but today I'm hoping to have some good food. But thanks for coming. I know it's early morning for many of you, Friday morning. I am here for only one reason. I'm going to be very public about it. Gayatri says, you come, you come. That's it. Like, there is no other second choice. Thanks, Gayatri. We're very proud of what you do, with your team, and, had a great chance to interact with some of your team members. And before we jump in, we have an amazing set of panelists here. I was also thinking maybe இதை வந்து ஒரு panelக்கு பதிலா ஒரு பட்டிமன்றம் ஆக்கிடலாம்ட்டு, and I'm well seated in the middle too, right? So they can debate amongst themselves. So my job is easy, but I'm going to throw some good questions. What you're going to see in our panelists is not just visionaries and entrepreneurs and all those things, but they are really change agents. What they're all doing in different parts of their work, the community work they are involved in, is amazing and also a massive change to our society. I personally have seen some of the work Gayatri has done, and I got a chance to interact with Mr. Ravanan, and I was looking at your profile in the media. It's just inspiring to see that. So first of all, welcome. Thanks for joining us in the panel. The topic today is very interesting, right? How the world has changed. Cities, suburbs, towns. I come from a very small town called Tuticorin. How many of you know Tuticorin? Gayatri, I know you come from Madurai, and Viveka, you come from Madurai, and we all come from small towns, right? We're not like the big city people, like speaking fancy English and going to Don Bosco and stuff like that. We grew up in small towns, but something helped us to be where we are today and open the doors for us. But if I fast forward today, 30 years since I left, Tuticorin and settled abroad, the world has completely changed. Technology has rapidly changed, especially post-pandemic. The influence the suburbs and small towns have had on people's lives, and how rapidly the world has changed around us, and you can work from home, and the digitization of these things, the local, the marketplaces that has evolved. I live in New York, Connecticut area for the last 30 years, and when I come to India, I feel like we are 30 years behind in US in many things that's happening. So it's like the cell phone. Naveen, you probably would appreciate this, and you were in telecommunication too, Mr. Ravanan. Cell phones was first invented in US. Now we are 30 years behind in cell phones, right? India has surpassed because you skipped a generation. When cell phones came into India, it was rapidly a different technology, and you move forward. Like that, I think the digitization, the local marketplaces are all like surpassing the globe, and it's the best time, most exciting time to hear from different leaders around us, their thoughts and what they're doing in the communities, that is going to change lives of every one of you sitting in here. So welcome, and let's start the panel. Gayatri, first question for you. You are a change agent. You're taking information to the hands of people at local marketplaces with your Kin app. What really inspired you to do that? You spent your life in investment banking. It's the craziest job to be in. You love data, I know that.
Yes, yeah.
But why would you want to do this?
Yeah.
Why are you so passionate about getting that information in the hands of the local communities and impacting them? What changed your mind?
So there are 2-3 things that I actually, that drove me to this particular thing. So as you said, I'm a data person, so I actually look at, what we get. So if you look back, so many years back before internet actually came along, you had very little information that you actually had to synthesize. So in today's world, I think in the audience, I can actually ask how many people are actually having social, everyone has a social, the smartphones is what we actually have. So we get information from multiple sources that are actually there. So the velocity and the veracity or the variety of information, almost like, each of us have become our own data lakes to actually get this information. So being technology people, you can all understand that, unless you're able to actually synthesize that information, understand it, it is going to become very, very difficult. So for us, when I actually look at it, I also thought that, we should be able to bring relevant information to people that is actually accessible to you. Now, outside the digital world, you want to actually survive in a community or an area that is actually there, which is of relevance or importance to you. And how is it that we can actually try and bring this to people is what we actually think. So whether it's entertainment, whether it's information that you're actually looking for, or whether it is, how you do your time pass or anything like that, as long as it's actually relevant to you, then that means that, you can bring in. So it's almost like a filter on trying to actually see how is it that we can bring this, and how is it that you can offer your services, because you're also a provider of information to multiple people. It can be your business, it can be your profile that you actually have, or your talent that you want to actually communicate, and it should reach the relevant people. And how is it that you're actually going to bring that? So relevance for me is the main driver to actually bring all of these pieces together. And that's the reason I actually thought, I'll get into this space to make things very relevant to people.
Thanks, Gayatri, for having me here. I think one of the first realities of modern society is that all of us are migrants, right? On this panel, Ish comes from New York. New York is a migrant city. I come from Bombay. Bombay is a migrant city, right? Gayatri is in Chennai. It's a migrant city. She's in Singapore. She's not from Singapore. She's a migrant to Singapore, and so on and so forth. So I think what essentially is that all of us are living a migrant life, right? We don't belong to our hometowns. There's a beautiful Tamil film that released last year called Maya Zagan. How many of you have seen it? Okay, so this is a wonderful film. You should see it. It's about a lost childhood. It's about migration to a new city and forgetting your roots. Arvind Swamy and Karthik do a terrific job. Very, very nice, small, easy to consume film. And it tells you what it really means to leave home and to go to a new city, and what it means to come back to the city and feel belonging, that this is where I belong, right? It's a wonderful film. I think you should all watch it if you've not seen it already. And I think in my media journey, I have, I have launched various brands. I mean, Radio Mirchi was one. And when I was launching Radio Mirchi, I remember we started in towns like Patna, right? So those of you who know media, Patna used to be under TAM called Media Dark, right? There was no media when we launched Radio Mirchi in 2005 in Patna. So Patna was not measured in Nielsen and TAM ratings. Patna was not on the map. Once we started launching Radio Mirchi, we started getting small local advertisers. The Panwala, the tailor shop, the second-hand bookstore who passes, the IAS books down to the next, etc. Those were the advertisers on radio. First time in their life, they had actually created a ad and they came on. So we sort of brought them on board and so on and so forth. So when I started looking at my journey as an entrepreneur, I first looked at regional cinema. I said I have to do regional cinema because regional cinema is where India is, right? I call it Mitti Ka Khushbu. In the sense, the real stories come from, back in the regional markets. I don't work in the Hindi market. I don't work in the English market. I work in that. Because I believe every migrant story, every story of human movement, every story of urban story is a story of home, is a story of going back home. And that cultural roots is what we're losing in some manner, and that is what, if you can get, that's a great thing. That sense of community is difficult in an urban environment, and so any effort at building that, I think will be great. So my inclination is towards that. And when I heard of KIN, I think KIN is trying to do that, right? Build communities, remind you of your roots, remind you of your people back home, and try to connect with local neighborhoods. So all of us, when we stay in Bombay, I've been in Bombay 20 years now, but there are still parts of Bombay I don't know. And I think it will be great to sort of know what is happening in Bombay. And I think in the new era, the more you go forward with AI and with technology, the more you want to connect back to your roots. I think that's becoming very, very evident, right? So that's where I'm sort of focusing on.
This is to Mr. Ravadan, and one more question to Ms. Gayatri. As an aggregator, what is your strategy vis-a-vis the publishers and content creators? And I also can ask Gayatri also, you talk about micro-marketing and neighborhood. What's your definition or understanding of what neighborhood is, or perception of what neighborhood is? Thank you.
I'll probably take the question. So, when we start the journey, right, back then, content didn't exist digitally to a large extent. So the problem then was very different. Problem was trying to convince publishers to give us their content without them feeling that we violated their copyright space. But the journey has now progressed to such an extent that today we have every single publisher who's digitally present on a platform, right? So it's a journey. The strategy has evolved over a period of time. Today, I think we've gone beyond a point where my partnership team has any strategy. They're only maintaining partnerships now because we've almost got everybody onto the platform. Having said that, that's one layer of a publishing ecosystem in India. We have those organizations which create content. But as you go downstream, you have a lot of individual creators who started creating content, right? But for that, the strategy is slightly more, I would say, evolved, needs to evolve a little more, because we see that a lot of noise gets generated from individual content creation. I think quite a few of these kids at the Kinthon try to solve the problem of moderation, right? If you see any platform that's gone through a journey of individual content creators, has stepped back a little because it creates a lot more noise than what you'd want. So today, content creation is slightly more, on the text side at least, is slightly more controlled. While on the video side, there's a lot of problems. Now, if you see, Facebook has just changed the strategy on moderation. It's moved towards community notes. Because I think the scale at which it needs to be done is very expensive, right? So that's going to be what defines your strategy on content aggregation.
I'll just answer your question very quickly. So I think Professor Gopi was asking about micro markets and my definition of hyperlocal. So hyperlocal is any area that where you're actually standing and like what's going on around you. So in Chennai, like there are about 16 or 18 corporation zones that are there. So I can actually belong to Adyar. So for me, like people in Adyar and that marketplace, maybe the 3 to 5 lakh people in and around that 3-kilometer radius, becomes the marketplace that's there. So when I'm defining about marketplaces, I'm talking about people living there, the shops and entrepreneurs who are actually there, the clubs and communities that actually exist in there. So how is it that that particular community can actually become a self-sustaining micro-market economy? So I'm talking about that shopkeeper and that person who's actually there trying to understand what's in their neighborhood, where they actually go, how they can actually leverage that neighborhood for their own things. So you might actually be, like students who are doing Viscom, or you can actually be tech people that are there. You can actually create a smaller, solution for the local shop to be able to actually market or enable e-commerce for them so that they can sell in that particular space. So how is it that, like people are able to self-sufficiently manage within that economy and build that economy forward is my definition of micro markets, and that's what I'm trying to actually push along. So in Chennai, if we actually have 6 or 7 very strong micro markets that I'm actually trying to create, more than 30 or 40% of the GDP of Chennai is probably coming from those areas that are actually there. And how is it that I can enable commerce for them so that, like they can actually grow bigger and not everything gets digitized. There is a level of digitization. Trying to bring digitization to the non-digitized world is also something that, like we're trying to attempt. And that's the objective. And I guess some of you from your hackathons have also given us some more ideas in terms of how we can take the thing forward as well. So thanks again. Thanks for your time. I think we're running a little over to the next ones, but all the panelists will be available just outside. So if you do have any questions or suggestions, please come and speak to us just outside the hall. Thank you. Thanks again for a wonderful morning. And thanks to Ish, Ravnan, Naveen, and Viveka as well for flying and taking all the time to actually speak to us and making this very memorable to us. Thank you. Thanks.
வணக்கம். UmagineTN 2025 ஈவெண்ட்டில் இருக்கோம். நம்ம டெய்லி ஹெட்டோட செயல் இயக்குனரும் ஒனிண்டியா நம்மளோட தலைமை செயல் அதிகாரியும் திரு ராவணன் நம்மளோட இணைஞ்சிருக்காரு. சார் வணக்கம் சார். வணக்கம். ஸோ இந்த UmagineTN 2025 இந்த மாதிரியான ஈவெண்ட்ஸ் தமிழ்நாட்டோட ஒரு எக்கனாமிக்கல் க்ரோத்துக்கும் டெக்னாலஜி க்ரோத்துக்கும் எந்த அளவுக்கு ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல்லாக இருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறீங்க?
சில ஸ்டேட்டில் என்னென்னா கவர்மெண்ட்டோட சப்போர்ட் இல்லாமையே சில ஸ்டேட்ஸ் வந்துடுது. ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் பார்த்திங்கன்னா சொல்லக்கூடாது, பெங்களூரில் பார்த்திங்கன்னா லாட் ஆஃப் ஆர்கானிக் க்ரோத் இருந்திருக்கு டெக்னாலஜி. தமிழ்நாடு மாதிரி ஒரு ஸ்டேட்டில் வந்து ஐ திங்க் இட்ஸ் ப்ராப்ளி த கேபிட்டல் ஆஃப் எஜுகேஷன், ரைட், அண்ட் லாட் ஆஃப் டெக்னாலஜிக்கல் டேலண்ட் கோஸ் அவுட் ஃப்ரம் தமிழ்நாடு. பட் இந்த மாதிரி டேலண்ட்டை வந்து நம்ம தமிழ்நாட்டிலே தக்க வைக்கிறதுக்கு வந்து ஒரு முக்கியமான ஒரு இனிஷியேட்டிவ் எடுத்து ஆகணும், ரைட். இந்த மாதிரி இவெண்ட்ஸில் என்ன அட்வான்டேஜ்னால் லெங்த் அண்ட் பிரெத் ஆஃப் தமிழ்நாடுலேருந்து மக்கள் வராங்க. அண்ட் இந்த ஐடி ஸ்பேஸில் வந்து சப்போர்ட் இன்ஃப்ராஸ்ட்ரக்சர் இதெல்லாம் இருந்துச்சுன்னா இன்னும் இங்கேயே இருக்கலாம், ரைட். நம்ம எப்படி வந்து ஒரு டைடல் பார்க் ஒரு கான்செப்ட் 26 இயர்ஸ் பேக்காக 25 இயர்ஸ் பேக் ஆரம்பித்தது வந்து ஒரு இந்தியாவிலே ஒரு முன்னோடியான ஒரு கான்செப்ட். அந்த மாதிரி ஐ திங்க் இன் தட் சீரீஸ் இட்ஸ் அ குட் இனிஷியேட்டிவ். இன்றைக்கி வந்த ஸ்பீக்கர்ஸும் சரி, இன்றைக்கி வந்த ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸும் சரி, ஐ see a lot of talent coming out there and it's very important for the growth of Tamil Nadu.
அட் த சேம் டைம் நிறையா ஸ்டார்ட் அப் ஆர்கனைசேஷன் வராங்க, எஸ்டாப்ளிஷ்ட் ஆர்கனைசேஷன்ஸ் வராங்க. அவங்களுக்கும் இந்த மாதிரியான ஈவெண்ட்ஸ் அவங்களுக்கு எந்த மாதிரியான ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டிஸை க்ரியேட் பண்ணணும்னு நினைக்கிறீங்க சார்?
முக்கியமாக என்னென்னா அகைன் பெங்களூர் எக்ஸாம்பிள் எடுக்கிறேன். பெங்களூர் மாதிரி ஒரு சிட்டியில் என்னென்னா ஸ்டார்ட் அப்ஸ் வந்து த்ரைவ் ஆகிற காரணம் என்னென்னா ஒரு ஈகோசிஸ்டம், டேலண்ட்டும் சரி, வெஞ்சர் கேபிட்டலிஸ்ட் சரி, ரிசோர்ஸஸ் எல்லாமே ஒரு இடத்துல இருக்கனால உங்களுக்கு வந்து அது க்ரோ ஆகுது. தட்ஸ் வை இட்ஸ் கால் சிலிகான் வேலி. பார்த்தீங்கன்னா சிலிகான் வேலியில் அதுதான், ரைட். I think Tamil Nadu has all the makings to become a Silicon Valley. Just that we all have to come together. When I mean all, not just the government, but the industry experts, industries, venture capitalists, எல்லாம் இது வந்து கூடு சேர்ந்து பண்ணோம்னா I think Tamil Nadu can become another Silicon Valley and can do a better job than what Bangalore is doing.
நிறைய யங்ஸ்டர்ஸ் பார்க்க முடியுது, ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் பார்க்க முடியுது. அவங்களுக்கு இந்த மாதிரியான ஈவெண்ட்ஸ் எவ்வளோ ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல்லாக இருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
ரொம்ப முக்கியம். ஏன்னா நம்ம படிக்கும் போதெல்லாம் அவ்வளோ ஈவெண்ட்ஸ் கிடையாது. இந்த மாதிரி ஈவெண்ட்ஸ் பார்க்கும்போது அவங்களுக்கு வந்து லாட் ஆஃப் இன்ஸ்பிரேஷன் வரும். இந்த மாதிரியும் போகிறேன். அண்ட் இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஸ்டார்ட் அப் ஃபவுண்டர்ஸ் எல்லாருமே ஜஸ்ட் அவுட் ஆஃப் காலேஜ், ரைட். சிலவங்க காலேஜ் முடிக்காமே வெளில வந்து ஸ்டார்ட் அப் பண்ணுறாங்க. ஸோ ஐ திங்க் இட்ஸ் வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் ஃபார் தெம் டு கெட் இன்ஸ்பயர்ட் டு ஸ்டார்ட் திங்கிங் வெரி டிஃப்ரெண்ட்லி. ட்ரெடிஷ்னல் அவுட்கம்ஸ் ஆஃப் காலேஜ் நம்ம எங்கே வந்து ஒரு சேல்ஸ் ஜாபோ ஒரு ஆப்வியஸ்லி ப்ரொஃபஷனல் கோர்சஸ் தவிர இதெல்லாம் நிறைய நியூ ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டிஸ் வரும். அண்ட் ஆண்டர்பிரினர்ஷிப் இஸ் வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் ஃபார் த க்ரோத் ஆஃப் அன் எக்கானமி. ஸோ தீஸ் இவெண்ட்ஸ் இந்த மாதிரி ஈவெண்ட் வந்து ஐ திங்க் கண்டிப்பாக வந்து நிறைய பேருக்கு ஒரு ஊக்கமாக இருக்கணும்னு எதிர்பார்க்குறேன்.
ஸோ ஃபைனலி இது ஒரு டெக்னாலஜிக்கல் சார்ந்த ஈவெண்ட்ன்றனால இந்த டெக் எக்கோ சிஸ்டமில் என்ன மாதிரியான ஸ்கில்ஃபுல்ன்றது ஃபியூச்சராக இருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறீங்க சார்? என்ன மாதிரியான ஸ்கில்ஃபுல் ரொம்ப கிரிட்டிக்கலாக இருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறேன்?
இது வந்து த ரேட் ஆஃப் க்ரோத் ஆஃப் டெக்னாலஜி இஸ் வெரி ஃபாஸ்ட், ரைட். ஒரு 2 years பேக் இருந்த டெக்னாலஜி வந்து இப்போ வந்து கமாடிட்டிஸ் ஆயிடுச்சு. பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 5 years பேக் க்ளவுட்னாங்க, க்ளவுட் வந்து இப்போ கமாடிட்டி ஆயிடுச்சு, ரைட். அண்ட் ஜென்ஏஐன்னு நிறைய பேசிகிட்டு இருந்தோம். இப்போ திடீர்னு தேர்ஸ் அ ஸ்பர்ட் அண்ட் ஸ்பைக் இன் இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் அபவுட் ஜென்ஏஐ, ரைட். பட் வாட் எவர் வே இட் இஸ், ஐ திங்க் ஏஐ வுட் இம்பேக்ட் த வே வி கோயிங் டு டூ பிஸ்னஸ் கோயிங் ஃபார்வர்ட், ரைட். இட் வில் இம்பேக்ட் பாசிட்டிவ்லி. ஐ எம் நாட் சேயிங் இந்த ஏஐனால நிறைய பேர் வேலை போகும்னு கிடையாது, நம்ம அடாப்ட் பண்ணிடுவோம். பட் ஐ திங்க் ஏஐனால் என்ன ஆகும்னா the ஸ்பீட் ஆஃப் பிஸ்னஸ், ஸ்கேல் ஆஃப் பிஸ்னஸ் வந்து 3x 4x ஆயிரும். அதுக்கு நம்ம ரெடியாக இருக்கணும்.
தேங்க்யூ சார். தேங்க்யூ ஸோ மச்.
தமிழரின் பாரம்பரிய திருவிழாவை கொண்டாடுவோம் புத்தாடை பொங்கலோடு. The Chennai Silks. Let the celebrations begin.